darlings, this is Krista K and I'm back again with another video. This is a new segment. Why every time I clap you girl, what is going on? This is a new segment on this channel called Throwback Thursday. We're gonna do a bunch of my favorite throwback songs. I'm trying to see what's happening with my glasses, but I'm tired. But some of my favorite throwback songs, some of my songs that I listened to during my childhood, and the first one is iconic. If you grew up the way I grew up, you know the song. It's called Marimar. Oh, Marimar. Ow. Listen, if you don't know Marimar, that means you didn't grow up the way I did. Okay? There was this one. This actress / singer, if I'm not mistaken, her name is Thalia. But she was so liked in my environment, in my Congolese environment, that you could not pass a house without watching either Marimar or the one where the other what is it, the other one where she was married to this other guy. You just couldn't. And Marimar is specifically this. Let me just give you a synopsis if you don't know the story of Marimar. So basically Marimar is like this, I wouldn't say village girl, but she's very poor. She grew up in the poorest side of this country. I don't want to butcher and say a country that it's not, but she grew up in the poorest side of this country, town, city, whatever, and she ends up falling in love with the rich boy. Okay. And the thing is, like, she was very innocent. She was very naive. She thought that all she needed was love, and that was going to be it. Like, they were just going to accept her because she loves their son, right? No. The mother hated her. There was this other girl that wanted to be with the guy, but he couldn't because, he got married to Marimar. And yeah, it was just uphill battle for her, because one, she had to learn that, she had to learn etiquette. She needs to learn that you can't do certain things here because that's not how we behave. And the problem is that Marimar is very trusting, and she didn't want to, one, create troubles for her husband, and two, create troubles for her parents, her grandparents, right? Because she lived with her grandparents. And the guy, as much as, he's, I wouldn't say ignorant, but I wouldn't say he was there for her a lot. But as much as the guy was a good guy, because generally I couldn't fault him, except for when, like, he would treat her bad based on how she reacted to how people treated her. But other than that, he was really genuinely a good guy. But it all, like, came to, like, a head when, he left their city, town, whatever, to chase his career, and he left Marimar because he couldn't take her, because it wasn't that he wasn't sure. He wanted to become a soccer player, so he wasn't sure it was gonna become a real thing, so he left Marimar. And when he left Marimar, obviously he left her with her ops, and they sent her to jail. And if you go further, you'll find out that, they do get reunited further, but she's no longer the Marimar that he knew when, they lived in a little city. But just watch it. It's on YouTube. I believe it's on YouTube. If you really, that was a beautiful series. Did it give me stress? Yes, it did. Did I want to punch somebody? Yes, it did. But Marimar was such a beautiful story that it shaped, honestly, the way I grew up personally. I'm not gonna lie to you, after I've watched a bunch of telenovelas, which are going to be on this segment of Throwback, you would be surprised how many times I wanted to marry a Hispanic man just because of the stories that I read. Like, once again, if you grew up like me, we watched Marimar, we watched Forbidden Passion, we watched Fearless Hearts, we watched the one with Bianca and Bruno. I'm gonna put it up here if I remember it. What is it? It's Forbidden Passion. The one with Bruno and Bianca. Forbidden Passion. My heart beats for Lola. Aurora. What is it? The Mount. What is it? Del Monte Dynasty. I don't know if they have like a Hispanic name. And recently, one of my favorite was La Doña. La Doña, honestly, I watched season 1. I hated season 2, so I'm not even gonna talk about season 2. But La Doña season 1, peak telenovela, beautiful, right? And yeah, that's why I'm never opposed to like watching things that I don't understand. I don't speak the language. I've watched Hispanic films where I just read the subtitles. Amazing. Amazing. Especially when they used to say, no me toques. Listen. Anywho, we're going to react to Marimar after I gave you a 5-minute introduction of my life. For Throwback Thursday, we're going to do American throwback songs. We're going to do Hispanic throwback songs. We're just gonna do any throwback song that I can remember that I really want to introduce to a lot of people that you might remember and be like, girl, I grew up. Listen, girl, was my mic off all this time? I hope not. I hope not. Give me a second to check that out. It was in fact not off. But yes, as I said, Throwback Thursday is just gonna be anything throwback that is good in quality. So let's react. Well, not really react. I'm just gonna vibe to it, and y'all gonna tell me what y'all think about my vibing. Marimar. Ow! I'm so sorry. And when she used to cry in this, oh, it used to be so sad. That's her grandparents. That's the guy she fell in love with. Ow! This guy, listen, if I tell you, the girls had this man in their hearts. This man was handsome. This man was handsome. Y el mar que todito me dio como ola se lo llevó. Marimar, Marimar. Cuando manda el corazón, siempre, siempre manda el amor. Marimar, Marimar. Cuando manda el corazón, siempre, siempre manda el amor. And she had that dog. Marimar, costeñita soy, con mis abuelos crecí yo, en un lindo y cálido mar, que todito, todito me dio, cuando al amor me llevó. This is the end now. Costeñita soy, el amor me llevó tras él, un sueño todito fue, cuánto mi vida cambió, cuando él me reconoció. Marimar, cuando manda el corazón, siempre, siempre manda el amor. Siempre manda el amor, cuando manda el corazón, siempre, siempre manda el amor, cuando manda el corazón. Everything. That man should be ashamed. Cuando manda el corazón, siempre, siempre manda el amor, cuando manda el corazón, ay, siempre manda el amor. I think the reason a lot of people blame him is because he married Marimar just to piss off his stepmother. So he did like her, but not enough to marry her, right? But then he wanted to piss off his stepmother. Siempre manda el amor. No que no. And then now the story with the series would start. Listen, I grew up watching this. Girl. I could tell you that it was a time to be alive. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a time to be alive. Um, yeah. A lot of people didn't like I forgot his name. It wasn't like a Gustave or something like that. Um, it could be translated in French. I think I watched it in French. I didn't watch it in Spanish or in its native language. I watched it in French. But initially, he didn't want to marry Marimar, if I remember the story correctly. He just like he liked her. He just liked her. But then his stepmother was like, "Oh, you should marry this girl." Right? And that girl that she was advocating for, it was kind of sort of like her minion, the stepmother's minion. So he was like, nah, I'm gonna marry Marimar, right? And um, you know, Marimar was like, "You wanna marry me?" He's like, "Yeah, let's get married." And she goes to her grandparents. She's like, "He wants to marry me. Let's get married." The grandpa, which is crazy because the grandparents they're like, Marima has never suffered in our presence. Like she's lived with us our whole life. She's never suffered any injustice. When you take her, when you marry her, make sure that she doesn't suffer any injustice. And honestly, promise you, as much as the stepmother did a lot of ish, that still gets under my skin because that's very elitist. But a lot of it stemmed from the fact that her husband wasn't he wasn't putting his foot down. He constantly kept being like, "Oh, yes, Marie, you have to learn. You're no longer a villager." Or in French, they said sauvage, sauvage. T'es plus sauvage. You're no longer like there with those people that are poor and that eat like this and that do whatever. You are my wife now. You represent me, so you need to behave a certain type of way. And as much as I love that man, I could also admit that you don't just take somebody out of their whole life, dump them into a whole different life without training, without nothing. So he's like, "Oh, my stepmother will train you," knowing damn well that stepmother doesn't like her, doesn't like you for picking her. And yeah, and Marimar, once again, she's in love, she's naive, she hasn't been exposed to this side of the world because everyone on her end of the world in the city and whatever, they're so nice to her. They're genuinely good people. They're a family, they're a community. So, yeah, she goes there, they bully her, they embarrass her, and he low-key never takes her side. Like he never takes her side at all. He's always telling her, "You gotta try harder, you gotta do better, da 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 da." But in general sense, he is nice. He's just, I have a lot of words to say now as a 24-year-old, like watching Marimar, but back then I was like, "Oh yeah, I like Marimar, just try a little bit harder, da da da." And then she went to jail. And then when she went to jail and he never called, he never checked up, he never nothing, I was like, yeah, maybe he doesn't need to come back in our lives. And then, she became rich, as you see in the end. She became rich, and, they met again. His family met her family, and she ended up being like, spoiler, she ended up being the only daughter to a very rich man that had met her mother, and her mother basically ran away with Marimar, and then her mother passed away. It's a very common theme in old telenovelas, like in very old telenovelas. There's other one. I forgot what it's called, but she's not dark skinned, but she's not white, but she's very on the darker side of the Hispanic community. And same thing like my mom, she grew up like in the, not in the ghetto, but in the like poorer side of the world. She ends up meeting this rich family, whatever. They like one of the boys in the family is interested in her, ends up marrying her. She ends up falling in love with somebody else inside the family, and all of those things at all. In every single telenovela, somebody has to go to jail, by the way. Like in very old telenovelas, it's either somebody ends up dying, somebody ends up in jail, or like they love the loss of memory trope. They love that. Amnesia trope. They love it. Mistaken identity. They loved it. That's why I'm so like not interested in series nowadays, because like bring back to the things that used to stress me. I used to watch this from Monday to Sunday, Monday to Friday. Used to watch one or two episodes a day, and then on Saturdays and Sundays you get a recap of everything that you watched during the week. So I'd usually not watch during the week because I had school. Then I come back on Saturday and Sunday and I just watch the full thing and they just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until the end of the day. And that's why now, as an older person, like, give me that trope, I'd skip. I'm tired. My whole childhood is full of amnesia tropes, wrong identity tropes. I get so tired and frustrated because I'm like, it takes one thing and y'all keep doing that. No. Okay, so that was that for this. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.